All right. Good morning, cyber friends. This is the Middy Man coming at you again from Walker Studio here, sitting back in Studio B, back here in my bedroom studio. Studio A is out there at Walker's Music, which I called it, in other words. We miss Walker's Music, but it's not like I don't still have it, but I'm not really in the business part of it anymore. We're not in that part anymore. Thank God, though, for as well as it is. And if I just saw this spike in my audio, something, I don't know what's going on. Maybe I should have rebooted. But nevertheless, we give God all the praise and glory and give him all the honor. And we thank God for each and every one of you, my cyber friends. You know who you are. And look like to me that I may have to adjust this microphone just a little bit to keep all this here. So y'all excuse me a minute. Mute your audio for just a second. I got to tap this microphone to get some of that fuss, get some of that static out of it. I can still hear it. To a degree, I can still hear it. All right. That might be okay right there. We'll see. But at any rate, we thank God for you. And tonight, as y'all see in the title of this video, it said the Shekhinah Glory of God. The Shekhinah Glory of God. People, I have read through the Bible. I don't know. I can't even count. I've read through the Bible from Genesis to Revelation many, many, many times. Matter of fact, I'm on a trip through it again right as of now. Haven't read tonight or this morning, I should say, but I'm gonna do it. It's gonna seem like it might be another all-nighter for me because I got some music composition I got to do tonight as well. Gonna get it done too. But I just had to break for this here because of something that happened to me Sunday afternoon. Normally I would take a nap on Sunday afternoon after church, but I was waiting on one of the granddaughter, old fat cat. That's who I was waiting on, and Dee Dee. And so I sat up. I didn't take that nap on this past Sunday. I was sitting up, so I took the liberty of watching some of the preachers and the pastors and teachers on TVN. I think I was watching TVN at that time. It was either TVN or Daystar, but at any rate, I was listening at this young guy that took over for Reinhard Bonnke. Those of you that know anything about Reinhard Bonnke know he was a very, very, he's a very famous, I should say, evangelist, well known all over the world. And he did a lot of evangelism. I believe, compared to Apostle Paul, he could be one of the greatest evangelists ever lived, other than Jesus himself. But at any rate, Daniel Calendar was talking about the nativity, what the season we were in, y'all, the Christmas season. And he got to speaking about the wise men that came from Persia, looking for the baby Jesus, the King of Kings. They were looking for the King of Kings because they knew a king was being born because of the star that they called it a star. But Daniel Calendar led me back to the book of Ezekiel, where Ezekiel saw the Shekinah glory of God depart from the temple, the first temple of the Jews. The temple that Solomon built was greater than any temple. The second temple, it was much greater than that second temple. And it said, Ezekiel saw the glory, the Shekinah glory of God, leave the temple, depart from the temple, go all the way out to the eastern gate of Jerusalem, to the Mount of Olives, and disappeared. God left the children of Israel. God departed from the temple. Well, let me tell y'all something. Number one, y'all know that the Babylonians came and destroyed that temple. Yes, they did. The Babylonians, led by Nebuchadnezzar, they came and destroyed that temple. But did you notice, though, no one could mess with that temple until God departed. Think about it. I want y'all to help me this morning. Think about it. God had to depart, because as long as God was there, nothing was going to happen. Nobody could do nothing. People, that tells us something as believers. As long as we got God, if we got God in our lives, we don't have to worry. But now I want to show y'all something. This is what Daniel was talking about, that star that them wise men followed. They called it a star, but it wasn't no star. It wasn't a star. I read the book. I reread the story. I reread Ezekiel, and I read it very carefully. And I saw exactly what Ezekiel saw in my mind. I saw the glory of God. As he explained it in the scriptures, I just imagine in my mind and seeing the glory of God from those two cherubim rising up as a wheel in the middle of a wheel. And wherever the cherubim went, that's where the glory of God was. And he said the glory of God departed from the Holy of Holies, which was the place where God resided in the temple. Came to the inner court and paused. He paused a while. It's like God was saying, I don't want to go. It was like God was saying, I hate to go. But God cannot stay in an unclean place. Then it said the wheels moved again and the cherubim stood up as they went. Then the glory, Shekhinah Glory of God moved again and went to the outer court. And it lingered there a while. Then all of a sudden it went to the threshold of the temple. In other words, it was going out the temple. Then it went to the eastern gate, and it lingered there. The Shekhinah Glory of God lingered at the eastern gate. In other words, y'all, God didn't want to leave. God didn't want to leave. This is why I believe that although pauses was in between every movement, God paused because he didn't want to leave us. He didn't want to leave the people. He didn't want to depart from Israel. But Israel had sinned and broke all of his commandments and his laws. Then it said, Ezekiel said, he saw the Shekhinah Glory of God go on to the Mount of Olives. And it was at the Mount of Olives that the Shekhinah Glory of God disappeared. Well, y'all, don't y'all see that that's the same thing that Jesus did when he walked this planet? Jesus went to the Mount of Olives, and he departed and went back to glory. Now let's back up to his birth. The same so-called star. It wasn't a star, people. That light that was in the sky leading those wise men to Jesus' residence, it was the Shekhinah Glory of God. It was God returning back to his people. Remember, Jesus was being born. Jesus, God in the world, he was right there in Bethlehem. And that Shekinah glory, it wasn't a star, because I know a little bit about astronomy now. Stars don't travel like that. Stars travel from the east to the west. Just like our sunrise. Sunrise go from the east to the west. And the sun is not really moving. It's us that's moving, but it make it seem like the sun moving. Sun doesn't move. But in our sky, because the earth is rotating and it's going around the sun, it makes it seem like the sun is coming up in the east and going down in the west. But that's the same thing as here with the stars. The stars are permanently. Listen to me, y'all. I know something about astronomy. I could show you my telescope right now. I know something about astronomy. But the stars are fixed in the heavens. Those stars don't move. We are the one moving. We are the one moving. The planet is moving and revolving. It makes it seem like the stars and the planet. It makes it seem as though the fixed elements in the sky, which is the sun is fixed. And the stars are fixed. God put them there. They do not move. Now, the only time you'll see a star moving, they say you see a shooting star. But you know what? Really, that's not a star. That's more like a broken off asteroid. It's a gas in the sky that done broken off an old planet somewhere like so. The stars are fixed into the sky. God put them there. They do not move. But this light that the wise men saw was moving. And it stood right over the place where Jesus was. A star can't do that. That was the Shekinah glory of God coming back to the earth. Just like he departed from the temple right before the temple was destroyed. The Shekinah glory returned back to Israel when Jesus was born. Because what? God was in the world again. God was in the world. Now, if you can't believe that, y'all, read Ezekiel 10 through 13. Read Ezekiel 10 through 13, and it will show you that the glory of God that was departed from that temple. And this is exactly what happened. God departed, and the men came, Nebuchadnezzar came and destroyed Jerusalem. It destroyed the temple. Yes, he did. Now, if you don't think that God always wanted to be with us, y'all, that was God. That is still God's desire, and He's going to have His way. We are still looking forward to God being with us. If you go to the book of Revelation, it said that John said, I saw the new Jerusalem descending out of heaven to this earth. God is still going to have His way. He's going to live with us. Soon and very soon, God is going to be with His people just like He always wanted to be. God wanted, he tried it in the desert with the Jews when they was in the desert in the temple. The glory of God came and resided right there in the temple in the Holy of Holies. When they looked at their tents, they could see that pillar of fire. They knew that God was with them. This is what God has always wanted to do. But he's right there in that pillar of cloud and that pillar of fire. It was Jesus, y'all, in His pre-incarnate state. That was Jesus. In His pre-incarnate state. Before He came and became flesh like me. Fully God, yet fully man. I can't explain that, y'all. That only God can know that mystery. But we know that God has always wanted to be with His people. And when you look at that scenario of Ezekiel explaining how God left the temple, you can just see that he was reluctant to leave because the Shekhinah glory was stopped. It stopped at the inner court. It stopped at the outer court. And the glory of God stopped at the threshold. He didn't want to leave. But he had to go. He cannot stay in an unholy place. God departed out of the eastern gate. I got to do this, y'all. I got to do this, y'all. Bear with me. Sorry about that. Had to get that static out. God departed and went back to the Mount of Olives, and that's where the Shekhinah glory disappeared out of His sight. That's the same way Jesus did. He was on the Mount of Olives, and they saw Him go up. And then the clouds receded out of their sight. They didn't see Him anymore. People, God is always wanting to be with us. And we are going to be with Him one day. When I saw that, I got so sad in my heart. It was almost like I was feeling sorry for God. Yes, because I could see it in my mind. The Shekhinah glory of God leaving the people, leaving the temple. He was leaving. And God knew what was going to happen. And He did not want to do it. That's how come in my mind. Every time that Ezekiel said the Shekhinah glory would pause at the door. And then it would go and pause at this threshold. Then it paused at the gate. And then eventually the Shekhinah glory went on through the eastern gate in Jerusalem and went to the Mount of Olives and disappeared. God left. And I almost felt, and I'm going to be honest with you, I was feeling sorry for God because of the fact that He didn't want to leave. Y'all know how that you done been. I know I done been in places that I didn't want to leave. But I had to. There have been places I've been where the thing was real good. In other words, that we all got good days in our past, just whether we got some bad days. But we got some places that we have been, whether it be school. I know mine is school. I miss my school days. When I was in the Andrew College in Berry, and I was learning, and even to the military. I hate that a lot of things that happened during those times that I didn't get a chance to go on and do like I wanted to do. But nevertheless, I was reluctant to leave, but I had to. And that's where I felt like God was when He had to leave His temple. Because He had filled that temple with His glory. And He had resided there ever since Solomon had dedicated the building and the temple to Him. And God filled it up, and He remained His residence there up until the sin of the people got so magnified and so great until God had to move. Y'all, God loves each and every one of us. Yes, He does. I believe that with all my heart and being. God loves every one of us, not just one or two. God loves everybody on this planet. God loves everybody on this that's ever lived on this planet. God loves every one of them. But from reading the scripture, God cannot bear sin. God cannot stand sin. He cannot let sin get by. I believe, y'all, because God loves us so much, I believe that if there was a way for God to do that, He would allow it because He loves us so much. But God is sinless. He don't have sin. And He will not tolerate sin. And that's what He wants from us, a sinless life. Now let me tell you something, y'all. God fixed it. God fixed it. That's Shekhinah Glory. God fixed it so we could have Him within us. Glory to God. The Holy Spirit is that glory. And now we don't have to be without God. God ain't got to depart. In other words, you better not want God to depart from your temple. The temple of God is our heart, in our spirit. That's where the temple of God is now. And don't let Him depart from your temple. That's the danger. That's the danger, because when God departs, evil shall come. In other words, Babylon did not destroy the temple until God left. As long as God lives in you, nobody can destroy you. Remember what Jesus said? My Father got you in His hand, and nobody can take you out of His hand. But we can't take ourselves out, because God gave us free will. And people, I'm not going to say He says easy. Some people tell you it's easy to do this. I'm not going to say that. Because there are some things that are not easy for me to do. I do them because of the fact of being obedient to the Lord. I might do them, but it's not because I really want to do them at times. I'm just going to be honest with you. I ain't going to sit up here and act like I'm super Christian, because I'm not. There are some things that God has asked me to do that I did not want to do, even though I did do it out of obedience. But I did not. People, let me tell you something. It's not easy for you to treat people good when they treat you like a dog. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. I mean, if you are able to do that, then I applaud you. I thank God for you. And I really wish that you could let me know some of your secrets. It's not easy for me. I'm just going to be honest. Now, this mini man. It's not easy for me to treat you good, and you turn around and treat me like dirt. It's not easy. It's not easy. I wish I could say it was, but it's not easy with me. But nevertheless, I would rather for you to treat me like a dog than for God to leave the temple of my heart. I don't want God to leave me. Because, see, I know as long as I got God, as long as I got the Spirit with the God within me, it ain't nothing you can do to me. There's nothing that no one can do to us as long as we have the Spirit of God living within us, in our hearts, and in our mind. That's how come Jesus said, love the Lord thy God with all your heart, soul, body, and mind. And do the second one that's just like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. People forget all that crossing T's and dotting all them I's, talking about how good you're doing. We're not all that great, but Jesus is. And the Shekhinah Glory of God will reside in us, just like it did and led those wise men to Jesus. That is exactly what the Shekhinah Glory of God does, which is the Holy Spirit within us now. See, that's the good thing about this. Holy Spirit lives in us. He just don't reside on us every now and then and touch us. No, He resides in us. And He gives us the strength and the power. That Shekhinah Glory gives us the power to do what Jesus said do. You think you doing it. Let me tell you something. Even those people that say it's easy, well, it's good, but it's easy because the Holy Spirit is doing it, not because of you doing it. Because there's nothing good in us. No, there's none good, not one. But it's the gift of God, Jesus. The grace of God is in Jesus. Was shown. In other words, He is that Shekhinah glory came and led those wise men right to Jesus. People that were no star. That was the glory of God coming back to the earth because His Son was announced to the world. And I wanted to tell my church family this on Sunday. I had the choir sing "Joy to the World." A lot of people think that's a Christmas song, but that's not a Christmas song. Not really. It's not a Christmas carol. I know a lot of us sing it at Christmas time and this time, but y'all, the "Joy to the World" is not a Christmas song. That is a second coming. The "Joy to the World" is a second coming anthem. Think about it. Joy to the world. The Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Well, y'all know the earth didn't receive Jesus. They killed him. Joy to the world is a second coming when Jesus shall return to this earth to take over as king. That's what joy to the world is about. But now, it ain't no harm for you to sing the song. We've been singing it all these years. Ain't no sense stop singing the song. But I'm just letting you know that joy to the world is a second coming of the King of Kings to this earth. That is an anthem about the King returning to this earth. It wasn't really about Jesus coming to the earth the first time, but it is coming again to this earth as the King of Kings. Because when Jesus comes this time, see, the first time Jesus came as a lamb, He came to be slain so I could have a right to the tree of life. So you can have a right to the tree of life. See, y'all, we're never going to die no more now. Yes, let me tell you some good news, y'all. We are never going to die. Every believer out there, listen to me, man. You are never going to die. Now, many men, everybody died. No. We are never going to die. That's what Jesus said. Jesus said, he that believes in me, though he was dead, yet shall he live. And those that live and believe in me shall never die. Now, you can take Jesus' word for it, or you can just go on and think like you want to think, but I think I'm going to stay with Jesus. In the book of Hebrews, it says, it is appointed to man once to die, but after that, the judgment. So don't you see that death don't end nothing? Why would if death ended everything, there wouldn't be no judgment. Think about it. It is appointed unto man once to die, but after that, the judgment. That means this life goes on. Death is the door that goes to eternity, people. Death is only the beginning. That's not the end. Because, see, what God said, God gonna have his way. When man sinned, he told Adam, the day that you eat of this tree, you shall surely die. God meant that. But what God meant was you were gonna have a spiritual death. That's what God meant. He knew that. He wasn't just talking about the physical body. Even though now, yes, the physical body go back to dust. But one day it's coming back again. It's gonna come back together. God in our DNA, y'all, I can't teach it all tonight. But I'm just trying to let you understand some stuff. God has made us so wonderful and so particular. We got something in our body. It's called DNA. And with one iota, one little bitty specimen of DNA from my body can reproduce my whole body. Y'all didn't know that, did you? So whenever this body decomposes in that grave, God gonna put it back together. Remember, God is the one got the blueprint. He can do it again. So what I'm saying is, we are gonna live forever with Christ. Sad news about this, y'all. Even though God loves us all, according to the scripture, there are some that's not gonna make it. That's the sad part about it. God has made the way, but he cannot make us take it. The way is Jesus, but he cannot make us receive it. Y'all, I'm telling you, stop trying to work your way to heaven. You'll never do it. It ain't got nothing to do with how much you work, how much you sing in the choir, how much you pray. All that stuff is good, but it ain't got nothing to do with your salvation. The only thing that God sees But see, that blood got us covered. God don't see nothing but the blood of his son. So now, therefore, there is now no condemnation to all them that believe. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by him. So now all you people that talk about all these different ways to God, you better go check yourself. It ain't but one way, and that's the one who died on Calvary. The one that got up and rose on that third Sunday morning and went and stepped on the Mount of Olives and went on back to glory. That is the only one that can save us. Now after we become saved, then we should show so by our good work. But I'm going to let you know that it ain't the good works they're doing, because see, you ain't got nothing good in you. It's what Jesus is going to put there and going to do through you. The Holy Ghost going to be your guide. That's Shekhinah Glory of God. I'm so glad that I didn't go to sleep this past Sunday. And I was able to sit up and hear my brother Daniel Kalinda, because it was through that it gave me the unction to go back with the Holy Spirit and read Ezekiel again. To read up on that God departed, that Shekhinah Glory of God, leaving that temple. It is that same Shekhinah Glory of God that came back to Israel when Jesus was born. Therefore it stood right over the house where Jesus was. Stars can't do that because they don't move. Amen. Amen. I just hope, y'all, it's my hope that I had to tell y'all that, because that's just the way I felt when I read the story about God departing from the temple. That just Shekhinah Glory departed in the way it did it. The Shekhinah Glory of God just stopped, waited. It made me feel sorry for God, because the way I felt was God hated to leave. That's what I felt, and I really felt sorry for God. Now I don't know if that's a sin. I don't believe it is, but it's just a human response. I felt sorry because I know I have been to certain things that I didn't want to depart from either, and I know how I felt. So I kind of put myself in the place of God when he was leaving his temple. He didn't want to do it. Not only, it wasn't just the temple he didn't want to leave. He didn't want to leave out the midst of his people. Now all of us that are born again, that know Christ and the pardon of our sin, we are all God's people now. Now I tell y'all, we are all God's people, but we are not all God's children. Now, I'm gonna let y'all figure that out. We all belong to God. God created us all, but we are not all of his children. Because some of us are the children of the devil. Jesus told that to the Pharisees, don't y'all remember? He said, if God were your father, you love me. Because God is not your father, your father is the father, and you the father of the devil. Now, if you are unsaved, that means the devil is your father. The devil is your master. If you are unsaved and don't know Jesus Christ and the pardon of your sin, you are a child of the devil. But now you ain't got to stay a child of the devil. All you got to do is confess your sin. Confess it. God already know we done sinned. Just confess and acknowledge that you've been wrong. And then receive the free gift of God, which is his son. Confess with your mouth. Believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, and the Bible tells you shall be saved. And that's all I can tell you. You just got to believe in his son. Believe in the Lord. Believe. He told Thomas, because you seen me, you believe. But blessed are those that have not seen me, and yet they believe. Right now, all of us that do not know God, do not know Jesus in the pardon of our sin, that's all we got to do. Just repent, confess, acknowledge that you've been wrong. Ask him, the Lord, to come into your heart and clean you up, that you might become a child of God, and you shall be saved. Now that's his word, not many man. If it's a lie, Jesus told it. If it's a lie, Jesus told it. In Romans 10, it tells you, Apostle Paul said, he said, my brother and my heart and desire for Israel is that they might be saved. That's what he said. He said, for our have them record that they have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge, going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves to the righteousness of God. And then he went on to say, he said, but if you will confess with your mouth the Lord Jesus and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you shall be saved. That's the word of God. That's the word of God. I don't know no other way to put it. And to put a cap on this thing, people, many men have decided that I'm going to follow Jesus. Yes. The road might get rough. The going might get tough. I may have to suffer sometime. But many men had decided that he was going to follow Jesus. We got some difficulties ahead. We got a lot of tribulation that we're going to still have to go through, y'all, I believe, before Jesus come back. I know a lot of people saying that they're going to escape this and escape that. Well, I don't know, but I'm just telling you. I don't know about escaping none of it. But I'm just saying that even if, see, God didn't meet Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego outside the furnace. God met them in the furnace. So in other words, when I go through the fire, I have this assurance of knowing that the Shekhinah Glory of God is with me. And as long as God is with me, can't nobody destroy me. And can't nobody destroy you. We're going to end this video right here. Thank God for each and every one of you. And I'm going to say whatever you get into. If God is not in it, please, man, please, sir, come out of it. Because it's going to come to nothing. If God ain't there, it will be destroyed. I wish I could just go on with this video, but I don't want to make it too long. But I'm more than likely going to talk about this in some more on down the road. In a later video, later Bible study. In Jesus' name we praying and we thank God for every one of you. And Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. And we hope you have a prosperous new year. I'm saying it now just in case I don't get a chance to do another video on this side of 2018. 2019, I should say, coming up. So I should say to each and every one of you, be blessed